Dongguan, China, known as the world's factory, has seen an increasingly depressed economy, with many factories and shops closing down. One boss pessimistically said that the factory is like a patient with leukemia or cancer, and as a boss, he can only endure the hardship. Mr. Wang, who runs a supermarket in Dongguan, told NTD that business is very bad now, with losses every day. The store's operating income is 70% less than in 2007 and 2008, and many shops on the street have closed down. Mr. Wang said, "Now people have no money. Where can they spend money? They just have to endure. They can't afford to starve to death. There must be a lot of closures." The store opposite me and across the street has been open for more than 10 years, and it has also closed down. Mr. Wang said that life is very difficult now. Many factories in Dongguan can't receive as many orders, and they have closed down or reduced their scale, replacing large factories with small ones. Mr. Wang said, "Now many bosses, small bosses, some of them have opened a shop with dozens of employees, are struggling. Just like leukemia and cancer, they are struggling. I tell you, many factories and many bosses can't even pay for goods. It's over. It's over. I'm very pessimistic now." Mr. Wang said that Dongguan is very famous in the country and is the world's factory. If Dongguan is not doing well, think about it. Is there any better place in the country than it? Dongguan's economy is depressed, bosses are losing money, and workers are not having a good time. Mr. Gao from Hunan works in a mobile phone factory in Dongguan. He told reporters that it was difficult for factories to recruit people before, but now they generally don't recruit. Students who have just graduated from school and have no work experience are generally not wanted. Mr. Gao from Hunan said, "We have experienced people here, and we have old employees here. Generally, we don't recruit many people now." Mr. Gao said that many people who come to Dongguan can't find jobs, so they sleep in the square, and sometimes they are driven away by urban management personnel. Mr. Gao from Hunan said, "Whether you can find a job here or not, you will come out. You come out and do some odd jobs. Otherwise, you can't make money at home. If you grow some farmland at home, you can't make any money at all." Most of the 8 million people living in the city come from different provinces. Like many others, Ms. Yu, a factory worker, came here to start a career, but now she is thinking about returning to her hometown in Chongqing after 20 years away. This is the worst time ever. She has seen factory profits triple. The 2008 financial crisis only had a mild impact. But with the current severe economic recession, the factory has been seriously damaged. Ms. Yu works for a factory that processes clothes for Western brands. A year ago, the housing area for workers had more than 2,000 people. But now there are only about 100 left because the factory moved most of its production to other, cheaper countries in Southeast Asia. Ms. Yu did not want to reveal her identity to avoid causing trouble with local authorities. She said city officials told them to stay calm and keep quiet. The factory also added security forces to monitor them and prevent any unrest. The boss ran away after burning through 6.2 billion yuan. The company was dissolved on the spot, leaving 800 people unemployed. Recently, the wave of business collapses and bankruptcies in China is increasing rapidly. The fact that companies and businesses declare dissolution in just one day has become common and is no longer strange in the context of a serious economic downturn in mainland China. Shanghai Jimu Galaxy Digital Technology Company is an example. The employees were still working in the morning, and the company announced its dissolution on the spot in the afternoon. Still at work in the morning, but the boss ran away in the afternoon? Recently, many employees broke the news on social platforms that Shanghai Jimu Galaxy Digital Technology Company, Ltd., hereinafter referred to as Jimu Technology, burned through 6.2 billion yuan in a year, suddenly disbanded. The boss fled, leaving more than 800 employees owed salaries. The boss of the company is also the founder of the online lending platform China Capital Union and has won awards such as Top 10 Honest Figures in the Internet Financial Industry and China Economic Figure. According to mainland media reports, a police receipt has been rapidly spread on social media recently. The report is to find Chen Kun, the boss of Shanghai Jimu Future Park. Subsequently, many internal employees of the company said on the 29th that they received a notice of "Boss Ran Away, Company Bankruptcy" on May 27. The company owed employees several months of wages. Currently, more than 800 employees are in collective labor arbitration to protect their rights. Public information shows that Jimu Technology was established in February 2023 and is headquartered in Shanghai. It has more than 10 subsidiaries and holding companies and has established branches or offices in more than 40 cities around the world, with more than 1,000 employees. As a well-known company with entrepreneurship incubation as its business model, Jimu Technology completed investment layouts in 12 different industries, including metaverse, AGIC, cloud computing, and pets in 2023. But what was unexpected was that such an influential company in China suddenly disbanded recently, and the boss ran away. When the company employees called the police to find the boss at the villa, there was only an A4 printing paper and a hard drive with the words, "The boss could not repay the investors a total of 6.2 billion yuan and could only choose to escape in the end." According to the online alarm receipt, the alarm time was May 27, and the alarm content showed that Chen Kun, the boss of Jimu Future Park, lost contact on May 24 and his whereabouts were unknown. An employee revealed that the incident can be traced back to May 27. After a meeting that afternoon, several department heads told their employees that the group's investors had run away, and now the group has no money and cannot pay wages, so they don't need to come to work tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. The employee also broke the news that the company has been in arrears of wages. According to the previous agreement, the company should pay the previous month's salary on the 10th of each month, but Jimu Technology has been overdue for salary payment this year and would only pay the salary at the end of each month. Since May 10 this year, payable April salary, the company has not paid salaries, and it is currently estimated that it will owe salaries for 2 months, April and May. The employee also said that Jimu Technology's departments in Shanghai are mainly engaged in technology, pets, and wealth sectors. At present, most employees are preparing to go to labor arbitration to seek justice. The boss, who is rumored to have run away this time, is the company's founder, Chen Kun. It is currently reported that he was arrested or fled the country, but the exact news has yet to be confirmed. Analysis of China's internal situation. Beijing secretly reserves large quantities of supplies. As China's economy continues to decline severely, and the CCP is caught in internal and external troubles, it has been reported that the CCP authorities are secretly stockpiling large quantities of supplies, seemingly preparing for the survival of a long-term conflict, especially the possibility of cutting off key supply routes to China after the US election. According to a report by the British magazine The Economist on July 23, Xi Jinping's authorities seem to be rapidly hoarding materials such as food, metals, and energy, and importing them even when these commodities are expensive. This move may not only exacerbate inflation, but also indicate that the Beijing authorities are preparing for the survival of a long-term conflict, particularly worried that key supply routes to China may be cut off after the US election. The article analyzes that in recent years, China's economy has been plagued by poor management and a real estate crisis, causing the authorities to want to shift away from resource-intensive industries. However, data shows that China's imports of various commodities surged by 16% last year. It is still rising, up 6% in the first 5 months of this year. According to estimates by British investment bank Panmure Liberum, depending on the commodity, China's accumulated inventory since 2018 is enough to meet at least 35% to 133% of its annual demand. The article points out that the National Bureau of Statistics of China has stopped publishing inventory data for many commodities. But according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, China's wheat and corn stocks will account for 51% and 67% of the world's total by the end of this season, respectively, an increase of 5 to 10 percentage points from 2018. Soybeans are China's largest agricultural import product, and its inventory has doubled since 2018 and is expected to reach 42 million tons by the end of this season. The article analyzes that although China is the refining center of many metals in the world, most of the raw materials it needs are imported. In terms of energy, although it has a large amount of coal, it is still not enough to meet domestic demand, forcing it to import 40% of natural gas and 70% of crude oil. Since 2000, food demand has also gone from mostly coming from domestic production to requiring more than 1/3 to be imported. In addition, China seems to be preparing for a more adverse environment. Since 2020, China's crude oil reserves have increased from 1.7 billion barrels to 2 billion barrels. At the same time, China's underground centers for storing natural gas have increased sixfold between 2010 and 2020 to 15 billion cubic meters, with a goal of reaching 55 billion cubic meters next year. According to estimates by Rapidan Energy Group, a U.S. research company, China's crude oil inventories have increased by an average of 900,000 barrels per day since the beginning of this year, bringing China's inventories to nearly 1.3 billion barrels, equivalent to 115 days of imports. At the same time, Beijing has also asked oil companies to increase their inventories by 60 million tons by the end of March. The report said that Gabriel Collins, a former U.S. Department of Defense analyst, believes that if China's CCP stockpiling behavior is compared with its military construction, it is very worrying. U.S. officials should pay close attention to the moment when changes begin. China plunges deeper into economic abyss as businesses collapse, fueling rise of homelessness.
A tsunami of despair has engulfed China, shattering lives and crushing dreams. Millions are jobless, their purpose lost. Depression is a constant companion, hopelessness reigns as more lose the will to live. The very fabric of society unravels, communities crumble. The scale of this emotional crisis is shocking, with millions pushed to the brink. What is going on? In the heart of China's gleaming cities, a dark reality lurks in the shadows. Amidst the towering skyscrapers and bustling streets, countless individuals lie on the pavement, their lives shattered by a system that has failed them. These forgotten souls, with nowhere to turn and no place to call home, serve as a stark reminder of the hidden struggles that plague China's rapid rise. As we confront this shocking reality, we are forced to question the very foundations of China's success. Is China actually achieving what they are claiming, or their success builds by ignoring the pain of their citizens? Let's find out. I can't hold on anymore. Finally, my chain of 8 fruit stores that I painstakingly built has closed down. I never expected to end up labeled as a debtor, owing over 28,000 USD. Today is May 3rd. Perhaps you're all on vacation with your children, but I can't go anywhere. I've been sued by my best friend, someone I've helped the most. Now that I'm in trouble, she's suing me. I need to find a way to pay her back. So I reached out to another friend for help. He asked me to wait at his company for half an hour, but I ended up waiting for 8 hours without seeing him. He didn't answer my calls, despite me calling him over a dozen times. I called 2 other close friends who run their own businesses. I understand times have been tough for businesses these past 2 years. When I was doing well, these 2 friends would call and message me several times a day. We used to spend every day together drinking tea, chatting and shopping, sharing everything with each other. Why this happening to me? The unprecedented wave of business closures sweeping across China is a stark testament to the country's deepening economic crisis. The once thriving Chinese economy is now grappling with a confluence of factors that have led to the shuttering of countless businesses, from small mom-and-pop shops to large, well-established chains. At the heart of this economic downturn is the manufacturing sector, which has been contracting for 6 consecutive months, as evidenced by the Purchasing Managers' Index (PMI) falling below the critical 50-point mark. This prolonged contraction has had a ripple effect throughout the economy, contributing to the mass closure of businesses across various industries. Hello everyone, I am 386,000 USD in debt and used to be the owner of an essential oils and beer physical store. I haven't slept for 2 days and nights, feeling extremely exhausted and tired. During the day, I have to face various calls from credit card and online loan collectors, and these calls have even reached my home and my friends. I know the mistakes I've made, and I have to bear the consequences. I can only blame myself for being too hot-headed and making reckless investments and expansions, leading to company mergers and now having nothing, deep in debt. I can't take it anymore. If I weren't in debt, my life would have been worry-free. Looking back at over 30, my life has become so miserable. Overnight, I went bankrupt. From earning nearly 10 million, I have now become someone with over 372,000 USD in debt. Do you know what a person in debt fears the most? Some people say it's being hounded by creditors. Actually, that's normal. It's only right to repay debts. What you really fear is loneliness and isolation. No friends, no money, no one willing to listen to you, and everyone afraid you might drag them down. I'm 40 years old and in debt for over 2.7 million. I built my business from the ground up in freight forwarding, with ventures involving fleets, coal processing plants, coal trade both domestic and international, and tile factories. I started my entrepreneurial journey in 2017. By the 27th of last December, everything fell apart overnight. From earning nearly 10 million, I became a person in debt for over 2.7 million. The challenges faced by China's manufacturing sector have also contributed to the mass closure of businesses. While China has made significant strides in certain industries, such as electric vehicles and information technology, it continues to face formidable challenges in crucial areas like advanced computer chip production. The country's heavy reliance on foreign technology and expertise in the computer chip industry has been exacerbated by the U.S. government's decision to restrict the export of advanced computer chips to China. This move has hindered China's ability to innovate and reduce its dependence on foreign suppliers, further compounding its economic troubles. As a result, many businesses in the technology sector have been forced to shut down, unable to compete in the global market without access to advanced computer chips. Dear fans and true entrepreneurs of my channel, I have repeatedly emphasized this point. This isn't something I came up with, Jack Ma said it. I believe he's right. 80% of private enterprises will go bankrupt. Does this include you? If it does, shouldn't you think about what to do before bankruptcy happens? Bankruptcy is no small matter. It brings a lot of debt problems and lasting consequences. Bankruptcy affects guarantors, personal assets, and even children's guarantees. If you don't plan ahead, you'll be in trouble. Not to mention the ongoing trade war between the United States and China, which began in 2018, has further exacerbated the challenges faced by Chinese businesses. The U.S. government's imposition of tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods, citing the need to safeguard American jobs and intellectual property, has had a devastating impact on Chinese exporters. Many businesses that relied heavily on exports to the United States have been forced to close their doors, unable to remain competitive in the face of increased tariffs and reduced demand. China's retaliatory tariffs have also disrupted global supply chains, leading to a ripple effect of business closures throughout the country. I am Sun Jinyi, a single mother with over 6.4 million USD in debt, raising a 2-year and 10-month-old son. 5 years ago, I was a wealthy person with riches that ordinary people couldn't earn in several lifetimes. I owned a multinational business with assets worth several billion. Every day I was indulging in lavish lifestyles and self-admiration. Back then I was so arrogant that I thought there was nothing in this world that I, Sun, couldn't do. I believed I was God's favorite, a domineering businesswoman. But later everything changed, proving that life is unpredictable. Overnight my world turned upside down. For the past few years I struggled to hold on, but my debts kept growing like a snowball, rolling bigger and bigger. Now I've lost all my assets, faced lawsuits, and had everything auctioned off. All that remains is a debt of over 46.8 million and my little son who doesn't understand any of this. But that is not all. Recently, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's recent decision to add 3 Chinese companies to the entity list under the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act has further complicated China's economic ties with the United States. As of June 12, 2024, U.S. Customs and Border Protection will presume that goods from these companies are produced using forced labor and ban their import, unless U.S. importers can provide evidence to the contrary. This move has sent shockwaves through the Chinese business community, as companies struggle to navigate the increasingly complex and restrictive trade landscape. Many businesses that relied on exports to the United States have been forced to shut down, unable to adapt to the new regulations and prove that their goods are not produced using forced labor. The proliferation of counterfeit goods originating from China has also contributed to the mass closure of businesses. A recent report from the South Korean government revealed that 90% of the counterfeit products seized in the country were traced back to China, with some items containing alarmingly high levels of toxic heavy metals, such as lead and cadmium. This revelation has reignited calls for more stringent enforcement of intellectual property rights and increased scrutiny of Chinese manufacturing practices. In recent years, many private enterprises, especially the owners and entrepreneurs, are closing down. Private enterprises in China contribute more than 50% of tax revenue, over 60% of the national GDP, more than 70% of technological innovation, and over 80% of urban employment. Therefore, the large-scale collapse of private enterprises would have severe consequences. The large-scale closure of private enterprises would undoubtedly lead to massive unemployment, triggering a series of social issues and potentially increasing social unrest. If private enterprises vanish, half of China's GDP would disappear, and SOEs would struggle to sell their products. Moreover, private enterprises are crucial components of the industrial chain for SOEs. In many industries, SOEs control resources but outsource the actual work to private enterprises. If private enterprises collapse, who will handle the supporting industries? The collapse of private enterprises would cause widespread unemployment, leading to a decline in overall living standards and the exodus of wealthy individuals. When society becomes unstable, wealthy people will inevitably seek new paths, including leaving the country and transferring their assets, which could create a vicious cycle for society. Taking advantage of the situation, the rise of professional closure agencies in China has also contributed to the mass closure of businesses. These agencies specialize in helping struggling business owners evade large debts and legal accountability by employing tactics such as changing legal representatives and diverting customers. The emergence of these agencies has created a thriving black market, where individuals from disadvantaged backgrounds are recruited to become professional debt bearers. As a result, many businesses have been encouraged to close their doors and abscond, leaving customers and employees to bear the brunt of the losses. This trend has further eroded consumer confidence and contributed to the instability in the market, leading to a wave of business closures across various industries. As businesses across China continue to shut their doors at an alarming rate, the human cost of this economic crisis is becoming increasingly apparent. The mass closure of businesses is not just a matter of financial losses and economic instability, it is a devastating blow to the lives of countless individuals and families who are struggling to survive in the face of mounting adversity. For many Chinese citizens, the sudden loss of their jobs has left them without a means to support themselves and their loved ones. As the once thriving businesses that employed them shut down, these individuals are thrust into a world of uncertainty and despair. With no income and few prospects for finding new employment, they are forced to confront the harsh realities of poverty and homelessness. The streets of China's cities, once bustling with the energy and optimism of a nation on the rise, are now filled with the desperate faces of those who have been left behind. Men, women, and even children can be seen huddled in doorways and alleyways, their meager possessions scattered around them as they seek shelter from the elements. Many have resorted to begging or scavenging for food, their dignity stripped away by the cruel hand of fate. I truly have nothing left now. It's 2 a.m., and I'm still outside with no home to go to. I don't know where I should go, and I feel so helpless. This is the first month since my company went bankrupt. Today I cleared out all my assets. Now, I really have nothing left, not even a dog. I've blocked all my good friends. I don't want to see anyone these days because I'm afraid of loneliness and of my friends seeing me in such a miserable state. During the day, I spend all night fantasizing. However, I am well aware that when you are poor and down, the people who look down on you the most are your family and friends. When you are thriving, the people who want to be close to you the most are also your family and friends. This is human nature. When you are in a slump, you have to keep all your grievances to yourself and not give anyone the chance to look down on you. For those who have managed to hold on to their homes, the situation is often no less dire. With no money coming in, families are forced to make impossible choices between putting food on the table and paying the rent. Some have resorted to selling their possessions or taking on crippling debt just to keep a roof over their heads. The stress and anxiety of their situation take a heavy toll, with reports of domestic violence, substance abuse, and mental health issues on the rise. The children of these families are perhaps the most vulnerable of all. With their parents unable to afford even the most basic necessities, many are forced to drop out of school and seek work to help support their families. Some may fall prey to criminals who seek to exploit their desperation, while others simply disappear into the shadows of society, their potential forever lost. As the economic crisis deepens, the social fabric of China is beginning to fray. The growing ranks of the unemployed and homeless are not just a drain on the country's resources, but a ticking time bomb that threatens to unleash social unrest and political instability. The government's failure to address the root causes of the crisis and provide adequate support for those who are suffering has only served to fuel the sense of anger and resentment that is simmering just beneath the surface. The mass closure of businesses in China is a symptom of a much larger problem. The country's economic model, once hailed as a beacon of growth and prosperity, has been exposed as fundamentally flawed. The combination of internal challenges, external pressures, and a lack of effective government intervention has created a perfect storm that threatens to unravel the very foundations of the Chinese economy. As the crisis continues to unfold, it remains to be seen whether China will be able to weather the storm and emerge stronger on the other side. For now, however, the outlook remains bleak, with no end in sight to the wave of business closures that are devastating the country.